Your woman could already be a healthy woman, but you internalize her being assertive as being disrespectful. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you about something different. I think this is very vital and very important, depending on who you are, what type of man you are, because this information will be very valuable to you as long as you understand it and you actually apply it to your life. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about why healthy women do not want weak males. Before we begin, I want to talk to you about what is a healthy woman. You know exactly what I'm talking about. She doesn't have any issues. She doesn't have any drama. She's at 100% with herself. She knows who she is. She's mentally stable. She doesn't cause problems. She has her shit together, for lack of better words. She's the type of woman that you want to be with, you want to settle with, you want to get married to and have kids with. This is the type of woman that is a healthy woman. Some of the other characteristics of a healthy woman, or should I say some of the things that made her a healthy woman, is having both parents in the household. So she had mom and dad. Dad was able to be a man in the house. He was actually a leader of the household. He didn't get ran over or disrespected by her mother. He treated her mother right. He treated her mother with respect. Her mother treated her father right. Her mother treated her father with respect. There was a mutual agreement in the household with her parents. The mother always respected the father. The father always respected the mother. Her father showed the example of the type of man that she should look for in the future. And her mother set the example of what it meant to be a healthy woman, what it meant to be a good woman, what it meant to be a lady. And this is something that a lot of women nowadays do not have. They didn't have the example of that. Maybe the father was being disrespected. Maybe the father wasn't there. Or maybe the mother ran the household and she was a feminist. Maybe she was very radical. And a lot of these things, women who are unhealthy, they pick up on these traits because that's all they know. So when they get out into the world and they're on their own, the only way they know how to survive is what they saw in the household. And women who grew up in a household that was chaos and was just neglected, they learn how to survive. Women that grew up in a healthy household with non-chaotic parents, she was able to go out to the world and thrive. So an unhealthy woman, all she's focused on is surviving. And you know exactly what I'm talking about when you look at women on social media, when you look at women on TV. Hell, when you step outside your door and you go in your neighborhood, you know exactly what I'm talking about, what these type of women are. And you have the healthy women. These women were already raised and bred to thrive. So when you see them, they're actually a lot more positive. They're more cooperative. They're a good judge of character. They have good character. They treat you right. They respect you. So I just wanted you to understand what a healthy woman is. Your woman may be a healthy woman. However, you may be a unhealthy, weak male. So I'm going to share with you in this video what happens when you are a weak male and why women who are healthy do not want weak males. One of the reasons why a healthy woman does not want to be with a weak male is because you lie and manipulate your way to get acceptance and to get sex from a woman. Now, if you're willing to lie, if you're willing to manipulate your way to get sex, which you can pay for sex, you can get a prostitute, you can go certain places, depending on where you live, and you can actually pay for sex if that's what you really want. But when you're lying and manipulating the woman just for sex or for her to accept you, and it's not just about you lying to get the sex and manipulating her to get the sex or get acceptance. The other thing is when the going gets tough, what else are you going to lie about? If you have to lie to a woman, you're putting yourself in a position to where you're the child, she's the authority. I talked about this before in one of my other videos. However, if you have to lie, you're basically saying that you're putting her on a pedestal because you have to lie. You can't tell the truth. You can't be who you actually are. She knows that you're not being who you are. And if you're not being who you are, her question is, who are you really? You're lying to get acceptance. You're lying to get sex. You're manipulating me. And that's just not a good look for you. And the reason why lying and manipulating a healthy woman just to get sex and acceptance is a huge red flag and a big deal is because in her eyes, that can be very dangerous. That's just surface level, just to get acceptance and to get sex. That's surface level, but it can end up being dangerous. And you know the type of guys I'm talking about, the guys that are controlling, the guys that do all this stuff to make sure that they get what they want from the woman. It doesn't matter if they're lying, if they're manipulating, if they're tracking her phone, if they're tracking where she's going. All this creepy shit that you shouldn't do if you're in a relationship, especially if you're a man about your shit and you're 100% with yourself, you have a strong sense of self, you know who you are, you know your value as a man, you wouldn't be doing that. So by you doing that, in her mind, you can be a dangerous guy. If you're weak, you can be a very dangerous guy. And that ends up being controlling. That ends up being very, very crazy. I mean, there's no other way to put it except for you can be very dangerous. And that's something that she wants to avoid at all costs. Because like I told you, if she's a healthy woman and she grew up in a good household, her mindset is to thrive, get with a man that's at 100%, that has his shit together just like her, and to thrive. But if you're that guy that is a weak male and you're all about survival, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. She's going to see it. It's going to be a huge red flag, and she's not going to want to deal with you. Now, the last reason why healthy women do not want weak males is because weak males are passive aggressive, and oftentimes they have anger issues. So you don't know how to deal with conflict. You don't know how to deal with a situation where you're not getting your way or you don't get what you want. You become passive aggressive. You start doing things that you don't want her to notice, but she is going to notice. When you're passive aggressive and you're dealing with a woman who is healthy, she's going to realize that you are passive aggressive. She's going to realize the behaviors that you're doing, how you're being silent, but maybe you're saying little jokes, you're taking little jabs here, your behavior. And when you don't know how to deal with conflict correctly and you can't be assertive, what ends up happening? You end up being aggressive and having anger issues. And when you have anger issues, that's another trait that's a red flag that causes her to see you as that guy that's dangerous. She's always going to have to worry about surviving with you. Everything you do as a weak male is really for you to get your way in an unhealthy way, because you're almost like a leech, but a very aggressive leech or parasite. That's a better word. In her eyes, you're like a parasite. Everything about you is negative. Everything about you puts her in survival mode, which is not good regardless of the type of woman that you're with. When you put a woman in survival mode, it's not a good look because she has to worry 24/7. And when you're always in survival mode, man or woman, you have this hormone called cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And if she's always stressed out and she's always in survival mode, how can you have a good, healthy relationship with her? So she doesn't want that. Understand that. And one thing I do want to mention before I end this video is your woman could already be a healthy woman, but you internalize her being assertive as being disrespectful. I'm going to say that one more time. You may be with a woman who's actually a healthy, good woman, but her being assertive, you internalize that as her being disrespectful. Now, I'm not going to go too much into it, but I will say is take a step back and actually evaluate what you're doing. Evaluate your behaviors, evaluate if you notice that you're lying to her about the little shit, if you notice that you're trying to manipulate her to get sex, doing all these little things to win her over, to get her acceptance, if you're noticing that you're controlling or you're passive aggressive or you get angry and you just don't understand why, you might want to look in the mirror because you may be that weak male. And if you are that weak male, you need to work on yourself. Work on yourself for yourself. You're not working on yourself just so you can get a woman. You're not working on yourself so you're trying to impress a woman or hey, I worked on myself. Do you like me now? No, you work on yourself because as a man, you always work on yourself. You always grow, you always develop, and you always thrive. So be that healthy man. Don't be a weak man. Be that healthy man. And I guarantee you, when you are that healthy man, you will attract that healthy woman.